Hello students, in today's lecture we are going to learn about sustainable practices in agriculture, forestry and natural resource management with respect to Indian knowledge system. In this lecture we are mainly focusing on these 3 points. First is sustainable practices in agriculture. Second point is forestry. And third point is natural resource management. So let's start today's lecture. In the beginning, let us understand the meaning of sustainability. Sustainability involves meeting present needs without compromising abilities of future generations to meet their needs. This was the definition of sustainable development made by Brundtland Commission. The concept of sustainable development mainly focuses on balancing environmental, social, and economic factors to ensure long-term ecological health. It also focuses on equitable societies, responsible resource use, sustainable practices aims to reduce waste, to conserve the resources, and to promote biodiversity. So these are the main aspects related with sustainable development. Importance of sustainability in the field of agriculture is necessary to understand here. So let us understand that how the concept of sustainability is important in the field of agriculture. So here let's see a few of the points. It is important for long-term security. It is important for preserving natural resources. It is important for protecting the environment. Sustainable farming practices reduce soil degradation. It also promotes the protection of biodiversity. Sustainable agriculture helps to maintain healthy ecosystem. It ensures the availability of resources for future generations, and it also contributes to the global food system stability and flexibility. Now, let us understand the sustainable practices in agriculture. In India, traditional farming techniques involve different methods. First, that is shifting cultivation. Second, that is mixed cropping. And third, that is called as organic farming. The shifting cultivation is also called as jhum or jhumming cultivation. This concept involves the rotation of the fields to allow soil regeneration, where soil is being rested and the another piece of soil is taken for cultivation of crops, and the part of soil which is rested, that is after some times again considered for the purpose of agricultural practices. Another few methods involve mixed cropping, which combines different crops on the same land, enhancing soil fertility, reducing pest impact, and ensuring better yield stability. Actually, the changes in the agricultural crops that naturally reduces the impact of pest, and for that purpose there is a need of mixed cropping. Another methodology was used at that time, which is organic farming. This avoids synthetic chemicals, relying on natural fertilizers, crop rotation, and biological pest control to maintain soil health and biodiversity. These methods preserve ecological balance, promote long-term agricultural productivity, and support the livelihoods of farming communities while minimizing environmental impact. So organic farming simply means synthetic chemical free agricultural practices, and that is healthy for soil, that is healthy for environment, that is healthy for human being. And this is one of the sustainable agricultural practices is in practice from ancient times in India, and it is going on in these days also. There are few more sustainable practices in agriculture that involves terracing, contour plowing, and use of organic manure. These three different techniques plays very important and vital role in Indian agriculture, which ultimately prevents erosion of soil and enhance the fertility of soil. The first method, that is terracing, which involves creating stepped levels on slopes to reduce runoff. The second method, that is contour plowing, which follows the land's natural contours to prevent erosion of soil from water. The diagrams of both these techniques you will see on the next slide. The use of organic manure improves soil structure, enhances nutrient content, and promotes microbial activity, ensures long-term soil health and sustainable agricultural productivity. These are one of the best sustainable practices are followed in the field of agriculture in India from ancient times, and still these are very popular among Indian farmers. Here you can see the terracing technique and contour plowing technique. In the first diagram, you can see that there are different steps created on the mountain, and in this diagram, you will see that it is plain. So on the plains, these kind of techniques being used for maintaining the soil structure, and these are the best sustainable practices in Indian agriculture. Another few practices are there. These are related with forestry. In Marathi, we call them as vanikaran. The first measure, which is very important as far as Indian forestry is concerned, and that is ideal example we call, that is sacred guru. In Marathi, that is called as a Devrai, which is actually a protected land by cultural and religious beliefs. It play a vital role in forest conservation. These areas are often undisturbed by human activities, serving as biodiversity hotspots and refuges for rare species. Sacred Guru help to preserve indigenous flora and fauna, maintain ecological balance, and protect watersheds. So these are very important aspects related with sacred groves. In this picture, you will see that what sacred grove is there. Here in this picture, you can see the Lord Shiva is there, and the trees are protected with the name of God, and these are the traditional beliefs among Indian tribal people, and they are protecting the forest and enhancing the amount of forest in forest area. Another practice involved in forestry that is being done by tribal communities. Actually, the tribal communities have a natural connection with the nature. and they are using all available resources responsibly while preserving the biodiversity through community forest management. Tribes enforce conservation rules, protect wildlife, and restore degraded lands with the help of their thorough involvement and their traditional knowledge. The practices being run by the tribal communities include controlled harvesting, reforestation, and safeguarding sacred groves by integrating indigenous wisdom with modern conservation efforts. Tribal communities ensures the long-term health and sustainability of forest ecosystem. To maintain the forest in India, the lead role has been played by the tribal people, and nowadays in the areas where the dense forests are there, somewhere you will find the tribal communities. They are protecting each other and they are living in harmony with the forests. Then the next concept, that is conservation of biodiversity. Biodiversity conservation involves preserving native species and preventing deforestation to maintain ecological balance. Protecting native species safeguards genetic diversity. This also ensures ecosystem stability and supports food chain. So this is very important concept in the field of ecology and conservation biology, as the biodiversity is very important to maintain the food chain. Another important aspect related with biodiversity conservation is preventing deforestation and preserving habitats, reducing carbon emissions, and maintaining water cycles. Conservation efforts includes habitat restoration, sustainable land use, and legal protections for endangered species. Endangered species are those species which are facing the threat of extinction, and if we do not pay proper attention to them, they are likely to get extinct. So for their preservation, there is need of we people to concentrate and protect them, which is essential for the balance of life on earth. The next part is natural resource management. The first measure for that is sustainable use of resources like medicinal plants, timber, and non-timber forest products ensures long-term ecological balance and community well-being. Then another measure that involves responsible harvesting of medicinal plants which maintains their availability and potency. The use of non-timber forest products like fruits, nuts, and resins supports livelihoods without harming the forest ecosystem. By balancing resource use with conservation, we protect biodiversity and sustain essential resources for future generation. This natural resource management concept is a really ideal example of sustainable development. Few another techniques can be used for the conservation of natural resources, that involves rotational harvesting, protection of water sources, sustainable fishing are essential for ecological health. Rotational harvesting involves alternating source use areas to allow regeneration and prevent overexploitation, and the protection of water sources that ensures clean and sufficient water for ecosystem and communities. And at the end of the presentation, let us understand the last crucial point, that is cultural practices and their relationship with respect to conservation of natural resources. So the tribal people have natural connection with the forest, and the traditional beliefs among tribal people, they have a respect for the nature. They are using the forest products in sustainable way. They are enforcing conservation through the traditional norms, the sacred sites, taboos, and rituals often promote resource protection, biodiversity preservation, and sustainable practices, ensuring long-term ecological balance and community stewardship. So these are very important points to be noted with respect to conservation of natural resources. Thank you.